Coggin and my wife Lisa. We started the ministry of Sanctuary of Grace here in Gulu. We actually came to Uganda in 2002, working with a ministry down there in Jinja, in the southern part around Lake Victoria. In 2003, when we had some of our workers that were from this region up here, they started talking to us about the war that was going on. And so we were very interested to see more and more about it because there was not much news there. So in 2003, we got a few of those guys and we decided to make a trip up here to see for ourselves what was happening. And during that time, we were able to see the transient children coming in and out of the city every night. Approximately 25,000 children would migrate in the evening, and then they would sleep on the streets, and then they would migrate back out to their villages during the morning time. And it was an awesome thing to see these children just coming and going like this for fear of the Lord's Resistance Army, because they would abduct the children and indoctrinate them into their army. So it really touched Lisa and I that we needed to do something here. So we started making more trips up here, and eventually in 2005 we decided that we wanted to start a ministry here. So we sought counsel, and that counsel said, that we could not do that ministry in the South and start a new ministry here, which was wisdom. We found out very quickly because it was a full-time job just being here. So in 2005 we came up and started looking for land, and God led us to this property we have here in Ochuka village, about 6 miles outside of Gulu town. So we talked to the village people, and they agreed that they wanted us to come. We had originally thought we would start an orphanage, but they were telling us, no, we'll take care of our orphans. You just educate our children, because education had just about shut down for 20 years because of the war. So we said, okay. So we started a small school, starting with kindergarten, and we had 100 children in an open pavilion. And we just had a few teachers, and we started teaching the children. And Lisa's had a burden since we've been here about the education system here. So she was studying and reading and doing all of the background on the education, and found that it was very lacking. And the children were not really getting anything from it, but they were studying mainly for just a piece of paper that would show that they made it through 7th grade and then through the S4. And they thought that was their way to get jobs. So she started really trying to implement something more into it. And we were doing our 2 boys that we have, Jonathan and Elisha, who we've adopted. They were doing Bob Jones. And so as she started looking more and more at it, because it's based for missionary kids who are out in the field, and does not have as much of the American ingrained in it. So it was really a good curriculum that could be modified and for this culture. So she started using it. And during that time we had some people who were really not willing to see it. They thought we were trying to bring an American curriculum in and make their children American. And that's not what she was trying to do. She was trying to take and blend it with what they already had, which was very little, and let the children learn. We had a meeting one time, and I asked the people in the meeting, I said, are the children in America smarter than those here in Uganda? And they said, yes. And I said, how can that be? They were formed in the same way. God made them with a brain that can learn just like anybody else in the world. It's just the education system. It's the method in which they learn. And so trying to work through that, we had a lot of struggles, but they never could find anything that she was doing that was illegal and against what the ministry was saying, the education ministry was saying that we could do. So she pursued it, and we had many struggles, and eventually they started sending out more and more inspectors, and the inspectors were talking to the children were speaking back to them in English, and they were able to really converse with the children, and they said, we don't see this in any other schools. So what is it that you're doing here? And so mainly we had 4 inspectors last year come out, and they all gave very good reports. So it's not, they're not sure what we're doing, but they're willing to let us continue doing it without saying anything. And we've got the LC5, who is the top in the government here in Gulu, who is very much behind it. The district speaker, who is also running for the LC5 and has a very good chance of winning this election this year, is also very much behind it. And we have many of the other government people who are saying, we don't know, we're not sure we understand it, but go ahead and do it, you know. And so that's where we are right now. And it's the children are unbelievable, because the parents in the village give testimony that their children that are in this school versus the children that are older in their families that go to other schools, the younger children are more advanced in their speaking of English, in the way that they behave, in the way that they work with the family, than their other children. And so there's a difference, and they're seeing it very much. It's unbelievable, the testimonies we've gotten from those people. And even our own workers who say that their children are asking questions. They're just asking questions. Jeffrey, one of our bookkeeper, he said his little girl just wears him out asking questions. And he says the other children don't do that. And so that's because their mind has been touched, and they're starting to think, and they're looking for ways to learn more. And by asking questions, that's how they learn. And so we told the parents, just keep answering. Just keep answering. So that's where we are right now. We're looking at starting other schools. We are very much in process of starting one in Kitgum sometime in the next month or 2. And it'll just start with kindergarten, because you have to have that foundation that will build on as they grow. And that's why we started with kindergarten here. We're starting our P4 now, and we'll add a year, and we'll do the other schools in the same way, so that they will be able to have that foundation built to grow with. And because if you take someone out of the school system in the 4th grade and try to put them in a 4th grade here, they would not be able to do it. So that's where we are now with our ministry.